is Gretchen Zellick and Annie Gibbons of Donuts and Pie Fitness, and today we have the pleasure of speaking to Risa Sheppard of Sheppard Method Pilates. Risa has been around for a while. She started in the 70s with Ron Fletcher, who the iconic Masters Pilates instructor. From there, she started her own Pilates studio, and it's well respected and much loved in West LA. And we're so happy to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. I appreciate it.
Well, I've known you just for a little while, and I love everything about you. You're so much fun. You're great. Okay, so we're just going to get right to the questions.
Okay.
So this is a unique Pilates studio, I think.
Thank you.
Pilates, develops core strength, improves posture, increases flexibility. But tell us how your Pilates studio is unique, and how it can also help emotional and mental balance and stability.
Well, I think it helps with mental balance and stability just in terms that we come more from a place of heart, if you want me to say, in a time in the world right now that everything is so haphazard and crazy, and that I like to concentrate more on the emotional part of being centered in mind and in body, because there's really no difference between the mind and the body. So in many ways, when people are all scattered out and about, and I've got to get centered, it's the same with our mind, it's the same with our bodies. So we start from that place of centeredness where we're all one, and we're all one, and we're all connected. The techniques that I teach are basically what I learned from Ron Fletcher, who learned from Joe Pilates, and I think I, as best as I can, represent the original ideas and thoughts of Joe Pilates. However, we all tend to deviate in a way, but I concentrate a little bit more on that mind and emotional. Too much has gotten away from the body, mind, and spirit, which Joe first came up with. It's all become very body, mind, sort of robotic. I like to bring in each individual's spirit, each individual's personality. So when you see somebody, you might see them on a regular basis, but Friday's going to be totally different from Wednesday, because you don't know if they're coming in from a fight with their husband, from something sad, something good, and then all that workout basically has to be tailored to their spiritual understanding and awareness at that day.
I love that so much. It's so true. You really look at each person as an individual, and each day is a separate day.
Yes, and I just believe that where the mind goes, energy flows. So I really try to connect both that, not just the mind in terms of thinking about parts of the body, but also the thoughts that they're thinking about themselves.
Wow.
If you're constantly complaining about how big your hips are, no matter how many exercises you do, you're not going to trim them, because the mind will go, I don't care how many exercises you're doing, you've got fat thighs, you just said you fat thighs. So it's working that whole trinity of movement of mind, body, and spirit, and each person comes from their own background and their own place, and so there's no judgments about anybody or with anybody. It's just working to your own beat of the drum type of thing.
I love that, and I have to tell you, this is one of the most welcoming Pilates studios I've ever walked into. And
Well,
I told
thank
you, your clients were just so warm and loving, and I watched the interaction. It's very unique.
Well, I'm very fortunate that I have wonderful clients and staff.
That's great. Now, you developed a routine called 50 Plus and Fabulously Fit after you developed a benign tumor in your right ear. So will you tell me the benefits of Pilates for people over 50 and those that may be recovering from an illness or health problem or brain trauma?
Yes, and I work a lot with people who've had strokes. I'm working with a man who has ALS right now. It's terrific for everybody. And I personally have had the experience of my own brain trauma. And had I not had so many years of Pilates, I think that would have hindered my recovery from what I had. I had a benign tumor in my head called an acoustic neuroma that had gone into the head and pressed against the brain, and it caused me a lot of, well, obviously discomfort, but they had to go in and surgically remove it, which caused me to lose all the hearing and the balance nerve on my right side. So I had to literally relearn to talk and speak.
How long ago was this?
This was about 13 years ago.
Wow.
In 2006, I believe. And what was supposed to be just a 5-day hospital stay turned out to be a month because I had some complications. My brain swelled, I guess. So all that I'm tying this into Pilates is that it was quite a recovery for me, but due to my perseverance of saying, every day in every way, and also my determination to get better, I think it was all the work with Pilates for so many years that helped me, and also helps me better understand with people that I work with now that have had whatever brain trauma it is, whether it's a stroke, whatever their particular part is. A lot of people have had brain traumas. My sister was in a very bad car accident about 30 years ago and had a very bad concussion, and she contributes Pilates to a lot of her recovery. So these are all areas that haven't even really been totally explored, but are just now starting to.
Well, and it makes sense that you're kind of ahead of the game when you're talking about a mind, balance with the body, and just overall being, that would make sense. The brain would be part of the whole.
Oh, sure. And I also lost my whole balance nerve on the right side. So because of and I will admit my balance is not 100%. I wouldn't do a tightrope. However, I wouldn't have walked a tightrope years ago either. But I have to work on that as well, because when you become more one-sided, it's a lot harder. But the more you, again, center yourself in mind and in body and in spirit and move from that place of wholeness and oneness, and understand that we are all part of the whole, then it becomes more of a sort of a metaphysical way of gaining control of ourselves and our body. And Pilates was originally body contrology, which meant control of the body, and control, I believe, also of the mind too, because it would, as Joe Pilates also said, it is the mind itself which shapes the body.
Wow, I love that. Well, it's perfect for the next question then. What's your advice for aging enthusiastically?
Staying positive, using all those mental tools I was just talking about. There's a lot of what's called race mind, meaning, what every other people think about aging out there, particularly here in Los Angeles. It's and you're always bombarded with ads of people young and beautiful and so forth. And I think to age enthusiastically, first of all, I know a lot more than I did before. I wouldn't trade back for 100 years. And I will leave you actually with one of the best things that one of my clients said. She's now passed, but she lived to be in her 90s. And I worked with her, and she was a feisty lady, Holocaust victim. And she came in one day, I'll never forget, she was working out, and she looked around at all the young people. She goes, I've been their age, they haven't been mine.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, so I always like to repeat that.
I'm so glad you said that. That's so perfect.
Thank you.
Risa, thank you so much. We had such a great time talking to you. I really appreciate it. And